Hello, I just want to tell you about my life. I mean, it says this one little camera, good camera, but I'm not doing anything professional. I'll actually get more light. Up and walking around, if we were doing these places, doesn't have much light to it. You know? But I'm just, some Troisy. Nickname for light because Paul Troisy said he couldn't speak very well. My institution, but I helped him, had him see light. But I was put in special schools and institutions. They weren't, I mean, actually, for institutions they were very good, but I didn't like being in them. They never taught past 6th grade. Went from being in institutions to being in group homes. Back in the late 70s, I'm 52 now. Group homes people stole from me, and I get upset and have a little fit. They throw me out. I moved to the YMCA. They threw me out because I was only in underwear. This is way before I was ashamed. This is back in the late 70s. You know, and I moved from place to place in the city, where I was treated wrong and stuff, but not nearly as bad as what's coming up in the future. I lived in good neighborhoods. Then I moved to another group home, where they stole from me and stuff. They took $40 away from me when I was sleeping. I hit a hole in the wall. But what happens is that nothing gets done about the person, but they threw me out, made me pay for the damage. I moved to a dump. In Raleigh Street. My mom was mad at me for moving to that. And back then it was horrible. Then I lived eventually I lived in a good place where I had my own fix and caused my own problems. Then I moved to Green Street. My father contacted me because my mom and him were separated, and we moved to poor Richmond, Virginia. We lived in Richmond. I lived there, and I had problems there. They had problems, so I got sent back up here. I actually lived at the Excellent Inn. I don't remember the actual times and everything, but I lived at the Excellent Inn. Then I finally moved to a place on Lois Lane, 5213 Lois Lane, or Locust Lane. I call it Lois Lane because I have my own language. I get into that more. But I moved to 5213 Locust Lane. I had my own problems. I had fits. I caused my own problems, but I had neighbors. I used to see the apartments running wild on me. They would say I made noise. I mean, I was quiet, and they would say I would make noise and do stuff when I didn't. And they would actually make noise, but this is just the beginning. And he said, pounding the apartment to do stuff. And once my father had to come from Philadelphia, I had to go to hearing. Charges eventually dropped because they found out I didn't do anything wrong. They said I was peeking in a window at 4 in the morning. That was actually the last day I worked at Goodwill. I worked at Goodwill and broke records of how much I earned because I did piece work, and I did real well at that. After that, I had threatening neighbors, and he would threaten me, pound, keep the TV very loud, and then I would start hitting myself, and if I couldn't handle the wall anymore, I'll hit the walls. And then I pound the walls and hit myself and call the police on myself. It was horrible. I didn't have the woman problem back then. I'll get into that later. But I still had to make sure I had to be shaved on the face and stuff like that and all that. But he was on drugs and stuff, and he threatened me and stuff, and nothing would get done because I went to jail for me being threatened. Because when he threatened me, I would call dispatch and threaten them the same way because I have autism and I didn't know how to stand up for myself, and I had this adrenaline in me, and I would go to jail for me being threatened. I call myself retard no justice because I simply get no justice. He would stampede. Another neighbor was the same way, just like that. He would stampede, and I was scared, and nothing would get done. But I would get called for being quiet. That would come in a while. But I had 2 different neighbors that threatened me. Another neighbor just blasted the music. I used to Crepley's, or the Steps. Steps is Keith Crepley. He played for the Eagles. Crepley Steps. That's my own language, rhyming. But because his name is Terry, I think. He had long hair like an artificial arm. I'll get into that. But he used to keep his dad loud, or TV and music loud. TV is a dad. My dad used to watch TV and ignore me. But he was an artificial arm. An artificial arm means a good-looking guy who does bad things, who has a good life and everything going his way, but does bad things like drugs and alcohol. It becomes an artificial leg if it's the same thing, but he shorts one. And an artificial foot and hand is a woman who's the exact same thing. She has a good life and everything going away. She does bad things. Artificial foot, long pants, artificial hand, long pants, artificial foot, short pants. There was once a guy with long blonde hair, and I said he had an artificial leg. He's coming up, and I actually saw that he actually had an artificial leg. And since he actually had an artificial leg, when he got closer, I saw that he didn't have such a good life. So he actually had an artificial leg, means he did not have an artificial leg because he didn't have the best of lives, you know, and he had a problem. So he did not have an artificial leg because he had an artificial leg. I don't want to get into that. It's just my language. It's the way I never want to see someone lose their arm or leg. Plus, I have problems with that. I just want to see people not do drugs. And I just say I hate drugs and alcohol because I am family affected. My brother-in-law's dead and my sister's dead. I mean, so I have a right to hate that stuff. But meanwhile, I lived in that, and then I was threatened and stuff, and no one would do anything about it. I would hit myself. I couldn't stand up for myself. And then Larry, you know, I had a good neighbor moved in, really good, Kelvin Fleming, and you know, he got sick. But he moved out and got sick, and he was a real nice person. Even though I'm Jewish, I went to church with him, and he was a pastor, but he was a real good guy. He had Alzheimer's disease. He couldn't remember when I tried to call him, but he was the best neighbor I ever had. He actually roomed with Franco Harris. Oh God, was he a good man. But then the bad neighbors came. It was Sherry Marks, who I talked to her and stuff, and she was nice to me, but she had problems too, and there was problems with that and stuff like that. And once an artificial arm came upstairs and kind of threatened me, asked what she was. This is way back in the 80s. And then I actually met that guy again, Stanley Whiskey, and it's funny, I met him again. He did something with me in the probation office. He was more friendly, apologized for that. But then I had a guy that moved in who would stampede on the apartment. I mean, I actually got thrown out of the bowling alley. And I had fits at the beginning of Larry, and I became straight. And, yeah, but he would stampede in the apartment. Boom, 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 keep his TV loud. After I got thrown out of the bowling alley. And I wrote Larry, when he started doing this, I wrote him a letter. I wrote him a letter saying, I'm sorry the way I acted, I won't have fits anymore, I'm going to get my life straight. And I forget exactly the letter I sent him, wrote him, but that's when he started stampeding on purpose to bother me, keep his TV loud. Perhaps one time before that, I almost got arrested for having my music on low during the day, but other neighbors blasted the TV. You could hear the 76ers getting real loud, and that Ricardo Brown had every word in the middle of the night where I couldn't get to sleep, where I had to go to work. None of these neighbors even worked. And that just bothers me. And then I'll get arrested, was dropped for warning for keeping my music low during the day. That guy made other false reports that I didn't even know about when I wasn't even home. One time Jim Coons from Keystone came over, hit his truck. And when he hit his truck, he put the music on low. And sure enough, Larry came and complained about it. And he couldn't believe it wasn't even that loud. But his TV would be loud at night, and he would stampede. Boom, boom, boom. And he was on the first floor, and I was on the second. And I would start hitting myself. I'll call the police on myself. I'll pound the walls. I wouldn't have fits, but if it came to the point, I just couldn't hold it in anymore. This is when I started becoming ashamed on women, too. Get into that. And then I couldn't go to the bowling alley. It was right there on the lot, right there. I just walked to it. It was right there in the parking lot. These people picked on me there, and I would throw a fit. And I don't know how to stand up for myself because my adrenaline goes up because I can't say things back to people. And I have a fit, and they punish me, don't punish the other people. And there's even witnesses that they threaten me first, and that's the way I get treated. I can't say things back to people. And bowling alley is my way to get rid of out of the apartment, to get rid of the neighbors and stuff. So I couldn't enjoy myself bowling. I couldn't go to bowling alley. I lived right there. I couldn't even play music in my apartment because I was afraid to. I was walking pins and needles there. I used to go out the back when he got the dog because I was afraid I'll make this dog bark or make noise on the steps. And then I'll be yelled up for that because I was afraid of that. My mom would say, or Randy would pick me up, say you shouldn't have to do that, but I was scared because he would call and tell me I made noise when I in. It was horrible, and I couldn't go to bowling, I couldn't play music with my partner. I have no girlfriend. I'm a virgin at 52 years old. Yeah, I was born April 13th, 1959. Today is July 5th, 2011. I never had sex. I never went on a date. I don't know what it's like to feel love. I don't know what it's like to any of that. I'm ashamed around women. Even I never hit a woman or anything. but I'm ashamed on women. Do you think it's fair for me to be ashamed on women like this? No, it isn't. And and it's been like this for like 15 or 16 years now, where it's gotten this bad. If I see a pretty woman in the store, this is gonna be so disorganized how I'm explaining this, but I gotta do it better. And so it's a YouTube thing, but if I go to a store and I see a pretty white woman, I start hitting myself or I have a fit. I say I belong in prison. I belong in prison, and I hit my head, boom. If I feel ashamed, it's PWW, a pretty white woman, or RTH, a retard hater, and that's a shame. I never had sex. I never hit a woman. I never had a relationship. Why should I feel that way? I go to work, even at work, if there's women that I don't know, I get like that and don't use the elevator and start screaming in the street. So, that's the way it is. I don't have a car, I don't drive, I don't have a girlfriend, I don't have sex, I don't go on a date, I don't know if I can feel love. I don't know if I can even feel love for my family. When I try to play with kids, I really can't do it, but I love to do it. I love dogs, but I can't really show emotion to it. I get sassy autism, but a lot of people with autism don't like to touch other people, be touched, but I like to bump into people. I feel if I'm bumping into people, especially if the person's really good looking and stuff, whether it's a man or a woman, but I'm afraid to do it with women because you'll think you're touching them and stuff, but I feel if I bump into them, I'll get lucky like them, and I'll become better. I mean, that's just my autism. It's usually the artificial arm, I do that too, or hand, because I feel that it's just stupid, but it's just something I've done since I was a kid. So I would feel that I won't be ugly anymore, and it's kind of stupid, but I do that and stuff like that. Yet if I do, if I bump into someone on an accident, I hate it. I get mad, I'll hit myself. I can walk on my shoe, make people laugh, fall. If I trip or something by accident, I would hit myself. It's funny and stuff like that. I say hi, Pearl, if it's a girl. I have so much hate for women and stuff, but I don't really hate them. I get in these things and stuff because they make me ashamed of myself, and they make me feel shamed and stuff. Like if they put about a man raping a woman, or a man doing something, or doing a streaking or something like that, I start hating myself, calling crisis, say I want to go to jail, call the police on myself, and the other places hit the walls because I actually feel guilty. I feel I'm the culprit. That's not fair to me. And I'm tired of feeling like that. I'm tired of having the bad neighbors that I had, where I was treated like that. I would actually go to jail, put in a hospital several times because what my neighbors did. Couldn't go in the bowling alley. That doesn't include how hard I worked at Hills and Pathmark, the hardest worker there. But I'm running out of recording time for the YouTube, so I'll just end it here, and this will be part 1. Thank you.